You are watching Nadira037.
Today, you guys, we're going to be making this high-low maxi circle or swing skirt. And I'm just going to take a moment for a little slow motion dramatic effect because you gotta love a full circle skirt, right? I also made the crop top that I'm wearing, so if you guys want a tutorial for that, definitely let me know in the comments below. And I completed the look with a head wrap using the Endless Diamonds 037 collection scarf. I have a link down below if you guys want to grab that. So you guys know this is not my first circle skirt tutorial, so if you've seen any of my other tutorials, which I will have cards and links below, you can go ahead and skip ahead. However, if you have not, we need to start off with taking a few measurements. So the first measurement you want to take is your waist, whether you want that to be at your natural waist or high waist. Either way, measure that and subtract about 3 to 5 inches since we are using a 4-way stretch jersey fabric and you want this to fit. Next, we're going to move on to how wide you want your waistband to be. I made mine at about 7 inches since I am wearing the crop top and I didn't want my stomach to show if I lifted my arms. Next thing you want to do is measure from the bottom of your waistband how long you want your skirt to be in the front and how long you want it to be in the back. After that, you can go ahead and take that waist measurement and divide it by 6.28. No matter what your waist measurement is. You guys ask me all the time, why do we use 6.28? Well, it's pi, which is the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter multiplied by 2. I know it's all mathy and you guys are like, what? Huh? Doesn't matter. Just make sure you use 6.28 and you'll be good. So for example, if your waist measurement is 33, divide that by 6.28 and you would get 5.25, and we can move on to the next step, which would be making your pattern. Now I'm using this sheet of paper, which is going to represent the freezer paper that I usually use to make my patterns, and I'm also using this little piece of ribbon, which is going to represent my measuring tape because it's just easier to fit all of this in the screen. So normally that's what I'd use. Now what I did with the little piece of ribbon here is I marked where my 5.25 measurement would be, and this is just kind of a guesstimate. It's not accurate, but it's just to give you guys a visual. And then I also marked where the bottom back of the skirt would be. So that would be your low portion. So sorry about that blur there, you guys, but you line that up and then you're just going to go ahead and mark dashes holding your measuring tape at the top and move it all around and mark it. And you'll go ahead and connect your dots. And you can see you have your pattern piece here, and you'll go ahead and cut that out. Now in my other tutorials, I do have a full detailed description on how to do this step, so definitely check that out if you need more information. But other than that, you've got your pattern piece here and you're good to go. I usually do fold that in half just because I find that it's easier to work with for me, and I also find that it's easier to go ahead and cut. So the next step. Now for me, I know that it takes about 6 yards based on my measurements to make a full circle skirt. So these pieces of paper each represent 3 yards of fabric. Now if you need more information on figuring out your measurements, again, check out the other tutorials and a blog post that I will have in the description box down below for you guys. But we're gonna go ahead and set one of the sheets of paper aside, and we're just gonna go ahead and use one to get started. So usually when you get your fabric, it's going to be folded in half like this because it was on the bolt, and then it's all folded over. So all you want to do is unfold your fabric, and then I go ahead and fold it in half like so, and then I fold it again like this. Then you can go ahead and grab your pattern that we just made and place that on top of your fabric. You're going to take a marking utensil of your choice and trace around. Now you can also do this right on top of your fabric, but I just like to have a pattern already made, so the next time I want to make this skirt, I'm good to go. So go ahead and cut that out. And this is what you'll end up with. So I'm just going to go ahead and unfold this, and you guys will see that you end up with 1/2 of your circle skirt. So you do the same with your other piece of fabric, which for me is the other 3 yards, and you've got a full circle. So if you were making your skirt, you would place the fabric pieces on top of each other with the right side facing in, so wrong side's out, and you would sew or serge along those lines. So now we're moving on to the actual skirt that I made for this tutorial, and I did actually make this for my daughter, but you guys can see that I have my pattern piece folded over. And I'm just going to go ahead and unfold the fabric so you guys can get a better idea of what it looks like. And you can see here when it's all the way unfolded, it looks just like the paper did, where you have one half of your circle skirt. Alright, so next we're going to move on to making the high portion or the front of your circle skirt. So I have this folded over, and you can see this is where the fold is. And this is actually the front of your skirt, and this is the side seam. Next thing you want to do is you're going to cut, and I just freehanded this, I didn't mark it, but you could if you wanted to. This is how I made my skirt. You'll see a little bit ahead that I cut my daughter's skirt a little different because I didn't want it to be quite as dramatic. But if you want your skirt to look like mine, then you would want to cut, and you can just mark right where that red line is. So now I'm going to go ahead and cut my daughter's skirt, and you can see I didn't go up that high in the front of her skirt. So I have the back piece laying down, and I'm going to go ahead and lay the front piece, which is the high portion of your high-low skirt. I've laid those on top of each other with the right sides facing each other. And if you want to add pockets, this is where you would go ahead and do that. You can either click the video or the card above to watch the tutorial on how to add pockets. However, if you're going to skip that step, then all you need to do is sew along the sides. And I actually use my serger for the majority of this tutorial. It's just easier and quicker. So if you have a serger, definitely do that. And this is what it should look like. And I'm just showing you guys what it looks like here on each of the sides. Now we're going to move on to the waistband. So you want to cut out a piece of rectangular fabric that is the length of your waist measurement. And then you also want to make that the width that you decided on, plus seam allowance. Once I've done that, since I am going to be using my serger, I want to fold that over with the wrong sides facing each other. And I'm just going to go ahead and get my pins and pin all the way down. And then I'll take that to my serger and serge all the way down. Once I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and fold it over, and then I'm going to serge along the ends. This is going to end up making my center back seam. Alright guys, now we're ready to go ahead and attach the waistband to your skirt. You do want your skirt to have the right sides facing up. And I do have this folded over where my center seam is in the center, but I'm going to grab some pins just so I can mark my side seam and the front center and make it a little bit easier to attach it. So I'm pinning where my side seams are, and I'm going to fold it over again, lining up my side seams so I know where my center front seam is. Then I'm just going to open that up, and I'll line up my side seams with where I pinned, and then I'm going to pin the pieces together. And you want where you did the serging to line up at the top. Alright, so then all you need to do is pin all the way around and sew or serge all the way around. Alright guys, this is what your finished skirt will look like. You can see right here would be where the center seam is in the back, or you kind of can't see it, but that's where it's at. And then all I did was go ahead and serge all the way around the bottom of the skirt. Your next step would be to go ahead and hem it, and since I serged, I'm just going to go ahead and fold it over one time, and then I will top stitch it. If you do not have a serger, you can fold it over twice and then top stitch all the way around. I also use Wonder Tape. If you guys are not using Wonder Tape, definitely check out my video on the wonder of Wonder Tape because it makes life so much easier. You can see I am hemming without using any needles. But once you've done that, you are done, and here is a look at my daughter's finished skirt. So you guys can see the way I cut hers, it wasn't quite as dramatic. If you cut yours following that line, the red line, then it'll be higher in the front. so let's go ahead and move on to the material girl of the week, and I absolutely love this one. How cute is this? This is from Natalie. She actually made this dress for herself and her daughter for her daughter's first birthday. She said that this was actually the first dress that she ever made. So this is why I tell you guys all the time, if I can do it, so can you. It takes a little time in practice, but I promise you can make anything that you want to. So definitely make sure you use that hashtag and keep sending in your material girl creations so I can share. I hope that this tutorial was helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all, and until my next video, assalamu alaikum. Peace. You guys can catch up with me everywhere at Nadira037, and if you want to check out that tutorial for that cape dress, definitely click the video, or I will have a card coming up for you if you're on your mobile device.